Welcome back to the Good Dude, Good Dad podcast. I'm Jordan.
And I am Ben. And today we have a pretty special, awesome guest. We're doing our very first, what is this called? Virtual?
It's like in Skype.
Yeah, Skype,
Riverside.
Zoom, Riverside-esque. Usually it's been Jordan and I getting the privilege to be on other podcasts. So today we're like, oh, shoot, what do we do? How do we do this? But today's guest, his name is Sean Busch. He is the founder of a new brand called Dad Mode. We'll put obviously more pictures and highlights and stuff in it, but him and I connected on LinkedIn, which is really rad because I think it's one of those things that as I was younger, I was like, oh, LinkedIn, like whatever, I don't need that. And as I've, continued to progress and grow and want to make connections, like LinkedIn is like the quote unquote professional space of social media. But
is that why I don't have any professional friends?
Oh, maybe
that makes sense. Makes sense.
But yeah, so Sean and I met through there, and we've only chatted once before this, and so I'm excited to have you. Jordan and I are pumped to be able to just get to know you more. We say it all the time, but I feel like in this setting, it gives us the ability to really learn more about the person that we're talking with, right? Like we want it to be organic conversation, genuine conversation. We want this to be a resource that someone can pull from, an inspiration. We want to invoke some type of feeling or change or something within our listeners. We don't want to just sit here and blab. But Mr. Sean, go ahead and give us a little intro about yourself. Again, I don't know you well, so I can't really go too hard into that. But we're stoked to have you. Thank you for taking the time out.
Jordan, Ben, it's great to be here. And thank you so much for having me. I hope I can live up to the expectation. Again, like you said, Sean Busch, I'm the founder of Dad Mode now and a dad of two. Son is 5 years old, Emmett, and daughter is 8 years old, Madison. And so my journey started, I grew up in a little town called Shoreham, New York, which is on Eastern Long Island, graduating class of 180, so really tiny. And grew up there. I went to school in Connecticut and met my now wife at Quinnipiac University. And we lived in Connecticut for a little while, and then we decided to move down to Austin based on a job opportunity. And so, my story actually starts a little bit before that. I was born to two entrepreneurial parents. So that I sort of had that itch and that bug that was just itching at me since I was probably like 14 years old, and found ways to just make money, just selling different things to kids in school. And then it turned it into a real business when I was 16. I started a car detailing company and mobile car detailing. And I loved it. I was a car guy, and I was like, hey, this is a good way for me to make money and meet some cool people. And then, I get to work alone and kind of transform these cars visually. And then I started posting my work online on the early social media, which is online discussion forums, and started to really build that business and made some great connections and ended up getting my first job from a connection I had with one of my clients who was the CEO of a pharmaceutical company. And then, that move down to Austin was one of my clients as well. So the funny story about it is he claims, he moved his company from Connecticut to Austin and couldn't find a detailer. So he's like, hey, I'm going to fly you and your wife down first class with all your stuff. And I was like, this is awesome. And so, we stayed with him and his girlfriend for a week, and I get to detail his Ferraris during the day when he went to work, and we went out to dinner with them at night. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was in my early 20s. And then by the end of that, end of that week, he's like, I want you to come work for me. So it took us about a year, went down there, worked for his e-commerce CPG company. And then I fell in love with e-commerce. And, I worked there for a few years. We were just going to stay there for a few years. But, in the last year, I had this itch. I was like, I want to start something. I want to do something. I just don't feel challenged. And we were both in the my wife and I were in the midst of family planning. We met our neighbors at the time, and they had just found out they were pregnant with their first. And we started talking about, different business ideas. So his name is Paul, and he would play ping pong in his garage late at night and talk about business and the Green Bay Packers. We're both Packers fans. And we decided to start a competitor to the Honest Company. We started Puracy, which is a natural household cleaning and personal care product company made from pure ingredients. And we launched online in 2013. We launched on Amazon with no money. We had think we launched with like $20,000 or so to make our first 4 products. And it was, we had no business doing this, but we just hacked it together. I was like, hey, I have background in cleaning products, and I found chemists, and we created these products, and we had, like little consumer research projects that we're doing in our house. We invite some people over. Hey, do you like this label or this label? Anyway, we started building that business online, and it did great. We scaled it up over a number of years. We kept adding products. And then, we got into Target, and we got into Walmart, and then we sold it in 2021. And I stayed on there until the end of 23, took a little time off in 24. And then I started Dad Mode, which people are like, hey, why are you starting another cleaning products company? Like, aren't you done with this? And I was like, no, I've been doing this my whole life. This is what's up. So yeah, Dad Mode is a cleaning products company for dads. And that's kind of how, Ben and I connected, and just me trying to find a way to bring what I've sort of found, and the joy and fulfillment that I found as a father to other fathers. Like, I love cleaning, and that's a weird thing. I know it's weird, but I try to make these products as easy as they possibly can to use. So minimal effort. And then, really the cool thing about it is that I found this sort of this science, I guess, around the love language of cleaning and chore work in the house. Like, when you have kids and you're married, your love language becomes cleaning and chores. It's like, if you take out the garbage, your wife's like, oh, I didn't have to ask this time. And then there's actually some data to support that, dads who clean more get laid more. So I figured, hey, let's go with it.
That's why I got 3 kids.
No, it's so cool, man. And to be honest, like, I was literally just Jordan and I were saying, wow, we should have asked for your number, because we were trying to make sure we could all get on this. And I was like, he's like, well, how are you messaging? And I was like, LinkedIn. And I went back to my LinkedIn, and I don't want to sound like a douche, but like, I have over like 100 messages on LinkedIn, because you're getting
That's right. Yeah.
People kind of hit you up, and somehow I saw your name, whatever, the little subject line was. I was like, oh, I clicked on it. And in a world that's so instant gratification, and so like people trying to sell you all the time, I was like, there's no way this guy like just messaged me. There's no way. And then, because I think I told you on the phone, but my wife and I still to this day use the Puracy baby wash, like, or soap, whatever.
Yeah. The baby shampoo. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we still use it. It's like has like a little greenish label on it.
That's right.
We literally still use it to this day. So I was like, wait, Puracy, I know the name of that. I couldn't remember why I knew the name of that. And then it hit me. I was like, oh, bath time, kids. Like, and then I told Jordan, I was like, dude, this is really cool. Like, we got, this guy like reached out.
Well, he first told me, he's like, I think this is spam and it's not real. So let me go look it up.
I know. So I did, dude. I definitely looked it up, and I was like, I don't know. People are always wanting something, and
For sure.
it's very rare that you find genuine connection and people really wanting to actually like use each other in a good way versus let me just get something.
Correct.
And what we're finding, though, and similar to you, Sean, is we're finding right now in this space with dads, and what we're trying to do with Good Dude, Good Dad is there are way many more resources than I thought when it comes to dad stuff, but still not near enough when it comes to parenthood as a space, right? It's usually more catered towards, female and moms. So this, it kind of took me off guard when I started, my Instagram algorithm now is only coffee, jiu-jitsu, and like dads.
Yeah.
Which is like so weird. But, we're starting to see that there are more resources, and that's what we're loving about, this show and the brand we're trying to build is, we haven't been doing this long, or we haven't been doing this that long, but have had good amount of successes in connecting with, like-minded guys that are wanting to be in a similar space in their own capacities. And we're all trying to just leverage each other and use, each other's platforms and resources to try to create something really cool for more dads. But the thing that got my attention about the dad mode was your slogan of dads who clean more get laid more. And it's funny because, Jordan on his social media in the past would do little videos, little reels about like him cleaning, and like it's just so funny because it's so true, and it gravitated towards me, or gravitated your brand towards me, is all I wanted to say with that big spiel.
Oh, in creating that brand for dad mode, like how well, let's actually I wanna go back to when you guys first started that first cleaning, product company, because a lot of
Hmm.
times, and this is gonna get more of a business question rather than a dad question. People, they go, "Ah, yeah, I really wanna start a business. That'd be nice. I know nothing about the space. I don't know," and they get so caught up on what they don't know versus stepping out and taking the risk and trying to get it done. What did you learn most from, like, that experience? Like, what finally put you guys from the, "Hey, we think this is a good idea," to, like, actually taking that step forward into starting, Piracy?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think for us, it was we had conviction that there was a movement. So a couple things. One was like cleaning products are pretty simple. They either work or they don't. And if they don't work, you're out, right? So we came from the lens of we want to have products that were good, pure enough and natural enough that you can drink. And like I actually did consume the products before we put them to market for that simple purpose of, hey, if like a kid gets into this, I don't want it to be one of these things where you hear the horror stories, right? They get into the poison and they, they can get hurt or killed. And I wanted something where it's like, all right, you'd have to consume like gallons of this to have it be harmful. So, that was one standpoint and it worked. And we had this distribution path that we felt was really untapped, and that was Amazon. So we launched on Amazon as a Prime product in January of 2014, and there were no advertisements. It's like if you can imagine that, it was a beautiful place to be. So we built the brand on customer feedback. The reviews were really important back then, and I would reach out to people. I would scour the internet for top reviewers and media sites and stuff, and just reach out to people like, "Hey, look, I want you to try this product out. I'm going to send it to you for free. All I want is honest feedback. If you hate it, tell me. If you love it, maybe post a review. But I really want to know." And then what would happen was, you'd get like a bunch of people like, "Oh, I really like it. It's great." And then some people said, "Well, I like this, but I don't like this." And then we used that to make the product better. And then I'd go back to them 3 months later when we did our next production run and said, "Hey, remember when you said this? We fixed it. Can I send you a new bottle on us?" And you tried out and they're like, "Wait a second. Nobody really? Like the last time I emailed Tide, like it went nowhere, right? I talked to some customer service rep or bot and that was it." So we built it on customer relations, really, like really try to be very close to the customer, build great products, listen to what's going on in the market, and have a great distribution path through Amazon. And those are really the key things. But look, we had no idea if it was going to work. We had no idea. I mean, like I said, our first production run cost $20,000 for 4 products, which is absolutely nothing in the CPG land. And the first product was sold to a woman in Alaska. I mean, it was just a very uncertain thing. But I think that at the end of the day, we're humans and we want to buy from people that we trust. And there's so many things out there nowadays that you just don't trust. I think we've learned that with what's going on over the past 4 or 5 years and what we've been told by the media and by the government and all these different things. And it's like, you want a sense of belonging, you want a sense of community, and you want a sense of trust. You want to be able to trust something. And, when I kind of put my face out there as the brand, I challenge people like, go ahead and see what you can sort of find about my character. Like my character is everything. And so, I really hang everything on that. It was really an important factor for me when looking at, it's like, it's a dirty underworld, honestly. Like you look at the ingredients in these products, we list them all on the packaging, right? You can look them on the package. You can go look them up on the internet. You can take the product and you can send it to a lab and reverse engineer it, and it's going to be that. And unfortunately, that's just not the case because for some other brands, because it's not regulated. So you could say, "Oh, I have all these great ingredients in it," and you can claim that, and it costs tens of thousands of dollars to check whether or not that's true. So nobody does. But the reality is it can have other stuff in it. So
Yeah.
I think it's really important to have, I think trust with the consumer is such an incredible thing. It's like one of those intangibles that as a small brand, it's one of the only things you have. You have trust and reputation. And as soon as you burn that to the ground, it's over.
Yeah.
It's like the big brands can get away with it, right? Because they have great PR teams and, you forget about things and they're just so big with distribution. But the small brands, that's really what we've focused on with Puracy and what I focus on now with Dad Mode.
Yeah, no, I love that you said that. Just the integrity behind a product, I think, is again can be related back to the last 4 or 5 years of what we were told and stuff like that. And um, you know, the space you're entering and attacking like the dad segment, I think me is such a genius play because I didn't realize how dirty products were until my wife was pregnant with our first kid.
Mhm.
Like that's what started it. In 2018, my wife was like, "Hey, we're pregnant. We need to start researching things." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like it's the same stuff that we've done forever, like pine sol on my floor to mop, in the kitchen." And she's like, "No, like we gotta be like smart." And I was like, "Bro, you're like exact, like you're being extreme." I'm like, "We've been using it forever." And, using Clorox to clean our toilets and stuff like that. And she's like, starts looking them up. And I was like, "Oh crap. Like my little girl, my child ain't gonna be crawling and licking and drooling all over those things. Heck no, no way." And then you start really diving into the products, which I think in today's world makes it a lot easier because of social media and how willing people are to step out and get healthy. But back then, even when you launched Piracy in 2013, it wasn't as big of the clean movement wasn't as big as it is now. And so
Correct.
what challenges did you see in trying to educate customers on these things? Because I don't really know what your price points were on that, but I would imagine it's probably more than a Fabuloso. So what was the challenges in trying to get people to understand like, hey, there's actually really harmful things in this stuff that you use every single day. You need to pay attention. You need to obviously pay a little bit more for these better ingredients. How did you do that?
There's a couple ways. So I think one was the brand name, right? And that came in the early consumer research. When I started to poll, our target market was moms, young moms or soon to be moms. And the word that kept coming back was pure. I want pure products, right? So puracy is loosely translated to the state of pure. So that kind of helped. But then it was about sharing the ingredients. And at the time, and frankly, not even until very recently, it was not required for household products to list the ingredients on the package. And so you just had no idea. And for us, we want full ingredient transparency. We were way ahead of the curve on that. And then people would get the hint of like, okay, well, I have the ingredient list. Maybe I should Google it. And then you had things like EWG where people can go and educate themselves on it. And look, we had to make some product adjustments to formulas because of some of the literature that was out there on these ingredients. But people started to see that, and then what we did was we started to create like a really layman's version of an ingredient database. So you'd take something like aloe vera or something and you'd say, okay, here's what it is, here's where it comes from, here's what it does in our products, here's why we use it versus other alternatives, and here are the products that it's used in. We just try to dumb it down as simple as possible so people can digest, like just a layperson can digest it. And that started to really take off and be a big hit for us because people are like, okay, well, I could look at them as a resource because they're doing the research on this. I don't have to do the research on it. And they're showing all of their work. They're showing all the publications that had these ingredients in them. And then, yeah, like to your point, we poked around at some of the bears, right? We found some of our big competitors and we called them out on it. And we called them out for certain ingredients in their. That's the great thing about being a small company, right? Is that you can go and you could say things that are going to piss people off, and that's the beauty of being a startup, because I don't think you're pushing hard enough until you start to get some legal letters from big corporations, and you just know that you're just getting under their skin a little bit, but you're not wrong, right? And that's kind of what we knew is like, okay, we'll back it up just a hair, right? Just so we're not kind of putting ourselves in the crossfire. But that was that was an important part for the brand, was to really kind of highlight first the merits of our product, but also call out, yeah, look, like we don't want to say what you're using is terrible. It's just that things have evolved, and now you have a better option. And hey, guess what? It still works. It works actually really well.
Yeah, right. A rising tide raises all ships. So that's one
Mhm.
cool thing that you got to do is really put people on their heels, and it's like, hey, if we're being out here and being transparent, why aren't you? So what's the reason? And that's really cool. I'm excited for this dad mode product because I mean, you're yeah, I feel like you're coming into this space at like the perfect time. Like I just read the other day that like the millennial dads, right? I think we all fall under that millennial category or close to it, are the most active and present in their household of any generation of dad that's ever been.
Mhm.
And tailoring a cleaning product to a dad that's already being more present, more at home. Like things are shifting from like even my dad, I remember as a kid, my dad was a very present dad and he did help a lot and he helped cook and all that kind of stuff. But like to the nth degree, it's been taken up by the next level of dads that are coming in and trying to be even more present and even more you know, helpful with their wives and taking care of things. But when you were starting the last how old's your oldest again? I'm so sorry.
She's 8 years old.
8 years old. So you had back when she was born, you were already in purity already and moving forward. So now you're starting not over, but kind of over. But now this time as a dad and as a father and as a husband, how are you navigating that? Like what is that like being um present for your kids and your wife and also, you know, pouring your heart into a startup? How is that how are you navigating that?
I think that from a scheduling standpoint, it's definitely much more challenging, right? You have much more, you have obligations and you have ways that you need to sort of balance your life. But I think that there's also a different perspective that you have, right? There's a much bigger focus that you're trying to get across here is around, okay, I'm building this brand for other dads, but I'm also doing it so that my kids can see me hustling, my kids can see me out there working, and then how do I get them involved? How do I make them more present and more helpful in the household as well? So you're trying to foster a sense of responsibility, really, and like I said, I grew up with two parents that were entrepreneurs, so I got a taste of that. And I think that it's really important that your kids see you hustle. I think it's important that you see them struggle, have some failures, have some wins, like really kind of go through the whole emotion roller coaster so that they realize um, life just doesn't come easy, right? There are hardships that you go through, but I think that now that I have this brand that like I fully identify with, that I can kind of live the brand. It's been a lot of fun to kind of get them involved a little bit more now that they're at a good age, and yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to kind of see them wanting to do things, and I think you start to find ways that make sense for them. Like my son just turned 5, and he's not quite there yet in terms of helping with cleaning, but I'll tell you what, he loves the spray bottle. He'll love just walking around spraying stuff. So now he has a dad mode bottle of just water because he just likes spraying stuff, but it's a start. And then it's like, all right, just grab a towel now and you wipe it. And so, um, yeah, I think that's a lot of fun.
That you need to get a video of that. That's great marketing right there. Starting young.
Yeah, and it also plays back to like, we try to make these products as easy as possible to use, right? We don't, it's gotten some pushback and I love it, right? Because I think the more, add a little controversy to a brand and it actually means that it's working, kind of like Black Rifle Coffee is a great example. You take, like you tell dads to do a little bit more cleaning and they're like, what are you doing? Like, what, why are you telling my wife to give me more work? And it's like, I'm talking minutes per day, single digit minutes per day, and you could be uh, a more present father and husband, and just frankly, just have a little bit more bonding as a family member, just by wiping down the countertops or just pre-treating the laundry, just like little acts of service,
Yeah.
to really kind of show that you're chipping in.
I'm so glad you said that because I think it's so freaking played out. And if you're a dad listening to this, like, eh, yeah, I'm talking to you. Maybe you need a little bit of like that kind of like punch to the gut, but it's like, dude, just because you go and you work and you think you're the quote unquote breadwinner and all these things, like you chose to have a family, you chose to be a dad, like own it, right? Like you said, it takes 2 seconds to wipe a freaking counter down. Like
Show
there,
up.
we need to like get past that whole, oh no, like I work all day. Yeah, dude. And your spouse or your partner or whoever's taking care of your kids, that's hard work too. Like I could never be a stay-at-home parent. I don't know how my wife does it. She, you
Agree.
know, fantastic, and it takes like a superpower to do it. So
100%.
the way I view it is the last thing or the easiest thing I can do is show up to clean the kitchen at night, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not that hard. So if you're in a place where you are being challenged by that and you feel some type of um response, that you need to be defensive, then you might want to kind of take a step back and just be like, oh man, like
Well, that's
maybe,
usually a really hard sign of truth.
yeah.
Like if you're
Mhm.
if you're slightly like, "Ah, what do you mean?" That it usually means get off your butt and do whatever's probably being asked of you, because someone's throwing down a challenge.
Yeah.
And it's not, in this case, it's not a negative one.
Yeah. So I love that, Sean. Like the fact that you're already getting pushback on on other dads, I already know some people in my head that are gonna listen to this and be like, Ben, you suck. Like, why are you saying so it's like I'm talking to you guys. You know who I'm talking to. Like, dude, help out. Like it's I don't know. And not everyone's cut out that way. And I'm not saying that you need to be like the three of us in this room because we all have our own faults and we have our struggles and we mess up daily. But I think the big difference is trying to show up. And I think creating a fun brand like this is, one way that might be able to help that.
I
Um,
also love the fact that they're branding, right? That dads that clean more get laid more, because it's not like, "Hey, you're a lazy piece of crap. You better start cleaning." It's like, "Hey, man, there's real benefits to doing, going a little bit above and beyond." And again, like you said, it's not anything crazy. I'm not telling you to, disinfect the house from top to bottom.
Correct.
A few seconds here and there, a few minutes here and there, and you've just told your wife with a physical act how much she means to you and how much you love her and how much you want to take off her plate. And not only that, it's showing a good example for your son, your daughter, about, the man that he should be and the man that she should marry. Somebody that's going to be there to support you.
Yeah, and I think to kind of highlight that point even more is like, okay, you go to work all day, you come home. I get it, you're tired, right? But your kid didn't see that. All your kid saw was dad's not home, and then dad comes home and dad, gets served dinner, or he's on his phone or what. Kids, yeah, I've learned that kids learn through photosynthesis, right? They learn by observing others, not by necessarily being told what to do. So they're going to mirror your actions, right? And yeah, maybe they'll mirror your words as well. Especially, I don't know, if you drop a curse word from now and then, they're like, "Where'd you learn that from?" But you know, from this standpoint, you spend a few minutes at the end of the day, like I clean up the kitchen. That's kind of my domain. My wife does most of the laundry. We sort of divide and conquer, but it's it's the norm for the kids. They just know that like mom and dad both chip in, right? Mom and dad both have jobs and we both chip in and we make the household work. And it's a team. And I think that you have to kind of look at it that way, and it just becomes normalized. And I think that your kids seeing you being very present and being applying yourself, there's no downside to that. There really isn't. And I think that the final point on this, obviously I'm kind of passionate about this, is that you have this window of the first 10 to 14 years of life where you're making a tremendous impact on your child. And that's the 10 to 14 years of like, your life here. Okay, yeah, like at times it's gonna suck. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's tough. You're in the trenches. Sometimes you don't even say goodnight to your wife because you guys are just either so tired or so ticked off with each other. It just sometimes it happens that way. But you have this time and you're doing it for the kids. You can relax when your kids are a little bit older, right? But your job until they're 18 is to like try to groom them and get them ready for this world so they become functioning members of society.
Mm, I love that. I want to ask you one more question before we kind of jump more into the product because there's some stuff I would like to talk about. But um, Jordan and I on our last episode talked about like a work life balance, and clearly you've successfully exited one startup, and now you're going into the next mode. And I know you said you like to include the kids and your family, and that's one way that you can kind of show um, more attention to the kids while still building something. What, in your opinion, or a couple things, is there that you can offer to somebody that is struggling with some work life balance right now?
Oof. I think that
And do you even think that that's possible, like having a work life balance?
yeah. It is, but something has to give, right? So if you want to be a billionaire, it's going to be tough, right? You're going to have to make a lot of sacrifices in the sort of life category. Um, so there needs to be, I think you need to set strategic goals for yourself, for your family, and try to get there. I mean, my wife and I talk a lot about manifestation and, putting something out there, putting a goal out there in the universe. And, we met when I was detailing cars and working at the computer help desk at the college that we went to. Like I was making not a lot of money. I wasn't doing well, but you just keep applying yourself and you keep making goals for yourself. And I think that that's a really important way to kind of view life and show people that you're trying hard. You know,
Yeah.
I think that that's really what you want to do.
Yeah. No, goals are I didn't realize how I know it sounds silly, but I didn't realize how important small individual goals are. Goals as a marriage, as a team, goals as parents, and then goals obviously in my business life. I genuinely didn't really fully understood that until we had our kids and these businesses and hectic life, fast-paced life. It was one of those moments where, COVID actually 2020 taught me to slow down and to
Hmm.
sometimes be a little bit more effective with those goals. And, yeah, I want to make money and I want to do these things. I want to provide these things, but at what cost? And what am I not willing to give up? And so,
Yep.
that's a great tool to use. Um, Jumping into dad mode, because I want people to really be able to kind of hear more about your intent and your heart and the vision behind this company. I wanted to Jordan, you called out that millennials are the most present dad category. Um, and Sean, I don't know this because again, we didn't talk, but I'm just kind of assuming. I'm a big branding guy, a big um, kind of from start to finish when you're going to invest into a product. Because, like you said, when you're doing Piracy, is people want to invest into something that they believe. And usually I always refer to it as there's like a heartbeat behind something, right? So for me and my company, there's a heartbeat. What is the pulse that keeps us going? Why would somebody come to us over the, 200 other, Orange County coffee roasters?
Hmm.
And the answers are going to, differ from business to business. But when I look at your branding for me, and I'm not crazy into the clean product, but I kind of am also, because of my fantastic wife in 2018. We haven't bought anything in our house that does not have some form of a clean label in years, unless we had to or something was out, it was a last minute,
Sure.
um, but, we've been using, like, things like Piracy or, if I can't find a different brand I like, we'll go to, like, 7 Generations or, I'll make my own by just using vinegar and tea tree oil and all that fun stuff, like
Iron Line soap.
or our buddies own a body wash or a bar of soap company called Iron Lion Soap. He's here locally. Super clean products. You could literally take a bite out of a bar of soap if you wanted.
Love it.
Um, so it's like we have all these things in our house. And so when I got your package, the first thing I noticed, again, without knowing any of it, was there's no plastic on the bottle, which to some people, they might not understand that, right? So from me, it was the first thing I noticed. I was like, okay, this is like an aluminum bottle. The branding is really clever and it's on point. It's very subtle. You used strategic colors, in my opinion, because you know, the graphics and stuff are so subtle, but they're still defined. And then obviously you chose a certain color for the actual product. But I love the illustrations. I love the fun slogans. I think you did a fantastic job at the overall package of what I'm holding in my hand.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, of
I
course.
love the uses, like, I've read off the bottle, like, what they're actually used for, and I love that it's dad relate or kid related, dad related stuff. I guys
Yep.
saw right off the bat, it was like, urine, stool, crayons, chocolate. I'm like, yeah, those are all things that I have to clean pretty regularly. And I was like, cool. Like if I saw that on a bottle, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly the thing that I need it for.
From snot-covered toys and crayon-scribbled TV screens to dog-slobbered remotes. Like, that's it dude, you
It's
guys
relatable.
did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Can you just, like, kinda speak more into the product and what your guys' goal is and, the cleanness of the product and, obviously, yeah, dad mode, and we've kinda touched on it, but I honestly, I want you to brag about the product you created.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you mentioned that. The branding work that we did on these products took a long time, like many, many months. We hired a big agency called Moxie Sozo out of Boulder, Colorado. I've been scoping them out for years. We never did any of this with Puracy. We just figured it out with our own graphic designers. Actually, like our first labels were with from a graphic designer that I went to college with and was in the same fraternity with. I was like, this is the only one I know, and
Yeah.
he didn't have any experience, but we figured it out, right? But this time around, I wanted it to pop. So all those things you notice, I love hearing that because every single detail was obsessed over, down to how, you have like up here, it looks like a splatter mark, right? And just all these different aspects. I actually, I forget which product that's on, but we have dumbbells on. I think it's the laundry detergent.
Oh, wow.
And, they started off with, I think 45s. I was like, put 75-pound dumbbells on there. That's really important. Uh, there's a couple of bras and panties in there too. Like there's some good Easter eggs. You notice there's a ruler on the back as well, just because you got to measure things. Um, so like we spent a ton of time on this, and it's super fun. I love that part of the process, and I always love hearing how it resonates. To your point, yeah, everything is plastic nowadays. We are trying to cut down. The microplastics are insane. We're just ingesting them at incredible rates through, I mean, from everywhere it seems. So while you're not ingesting this, it's still plastics. As soon as you kind of chuck them into the recycling or trash, they're going to get into the environment. I mean, some of them are. With this, we're really building this refill model. And that's, one of those takeaways I got from Puracy was refills work. People are grasping onto refills. We didn't do a concentrate because we found, we tried it out. It didn't really resonate. People felt it was too much work, too much time to take to mix it up and stuff. So we just did refills. Um, the products themselves, I mean, look, this is my sweet spot. I come from the detailing world, which over indexes on efficacy and under indexes on safety. It's like, if it burns your skin off, but it works, let's use it, right? If it's bad for your lungs, let's use it, right? As long as it works. So, this is definitely coming from the safety aspect, definitely coming from the dad aspect. So there's clean ingredients, safe ingredients. Like our surface cleaner, for instance, I made a video on this earlier today. The nice thing about it is that number one, it's going to be streak free, which is great because a lot of surface cleaners leave like kind of this soapy, ghosty residue, especially on like granite and stainless. So you can clean stainless with it. The longer you let it sit on the surface, the better it's going to work. So I cleaned the stove with it before, and typically you'd need like some sort of cream with a little bit of an abrasive in it to go ahead and clean a stove top. None of that. I just left it on for a minute, cut everything away, and then you wipe it away, and it's perfect. So, I use this on everything. I use it on my phone. I use it on the TV. I use it on, everything in the kitchen. It's just really a very versatile, I'd say, is like indispensable as your remote control in your house. Ours, we have a couple bottles that just float around the house.
Yeah.
You have your deep stain remover, which I think is a hero product for us. That's the Blue Label. That is one where so over engineered. It's got 7 enzymes in it. It is, this is the product right here.
That's the one that has like the little princess on the back or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's like a bib or
Yep.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Daddy's Little Princess. Very good.
That one got me because I have my girl's my little princess.
It is so over engineered that you use it on anything. You just pre-treat it. You literally just spray the stain and you throw it in the laundry, and that's it. Whether you wash it an hour from now or you wash it a week from now, it's going to work the same, but you don't have to scrub or anything like that. I mean, again, you could pre-treat all your laundry in 5 minutes. If you have 4 loads of laundry, and you can tell your wife, hey, I pre-treated all the laundry. You don't have to do it yourself. And like you're a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it works.
Many times where I put like a stain remover on, and like we have a 4-month-old right now. Blowouts, right? Blowouts. I put the stain remover on, and I'm like, okay, I got to remember to 5 minutes. I got to come back and scrub it. Then I go upstairs. We're playing Dunk Dunk Cruise. 30 minutes later, I'm like, crap.
Yeah.
I'm like running downstairs trying to. I love that. Just pre-treat it. Go.
Throw it in and go. So I'm actually doing a contest right now, or a challenge rather, where I kind of post this out on social media. I'm having people send me their clothing that is stained and they can't get the stains out of. So I've had like, a couple dozen people. I had some friends kind of tweet it out as well. because I want to bring it in. I want to show up how well this product works. I mean, it's really we killed it on the engineering. And so, like, these 7 enzymes are great because they just break down all these stain sources. The seventh enzyme is a new one that it's called nuclease. It has not been used in any products that exist in the United States yet. We're the first one, and it breaks down stains at like the nucleotide level. So anything that has to do with body odor, anything that's excreted from your body. So, I mean, all the nasty stuff, it kills it all. So, like everything from gym funk to blowouts and pit stains and everything in between. And then, the final product, our spot remover it's sort of been unofficially coined as like the lazy man's best friend, because you clean any sort of fabric source. So, like, look, I love cleaning, but my dog, I don't know, we found a deer leg in our yard the other day, just like a deer leg, just, I guess, a coyote. We live out in the woods and it's not in the yard. My dog's like, oh, this is awesome. I get to chew on a deer leg. It was pretty fresh too. So he chewed on it. And then I must have been out there for a while, so it was kind of rancid. And he just decided to puke all over. We have go figure. I have a white cloth couch with children, which is insane. And so you get up the next morning, there's just vomit stains all over it. And I was like, man, I really don't feel like, getting out the carpet extractor. And so I said, you know what, let's give it a shot. So I sprayed this on and then let it sit for a minute and I wiped it away. And I was like, wow, most of it came out. Sprayed it on again and got a new towel. And it worked. It's like, and then you start to use it on wine stains and coffee stains and all different types of stains on your clothes before you run out the door. I mean, people use it on their car seats. If their kids spill something like, and it just spilled, you spray it on really well and you wipe it away. I mean, it's like an unsung hero in our household now. It's just great.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome. I wish you would have got a video of that. That would have been next level.
I know.
So what is the eventual goal with dad mode? What would you like to see either either with the product or in site change? What's kind of your guys' hopes with dad mode?
I look at the brand as I think the best benchmark that I can think of is Red Bull. And the reason I say that is because Red Bull has created this company of extreme sports that's funded by an energy drink, and I think that dad mode can become this resource, this platform, this community of really portraying better habits for dads, and then we fund that through cleaning products, and I think that that's a really important aspect of the brand vision, because you guys know it. Like, the world needs more good dads. There's just there's too much data out there to show that a dad being not present or not existent in a household and what that does to a young child and their upbringing. And I think that it's obviously equally important to have a mom, but unfortunately, I just see too many situations where it's mom raising the kids, not dad raising the kids, and so I want to find a way to kind of get that out to the masses, create this community. And it's through, conversations like this, and it's through connections like this. And, you start to kind of work together to kind of build this community in which, you take bite-sized bits, right? Like, I'm putting together a lot of content right now around how to be engaged with your children and how to have impact if I don't have a lot of time. Like, it's a video I just filmed yesterday, actually, around, if you only have 10 minutes per day, here's what you can do to have the maximum amount of impact with your child. And I think that those are really important things that I know that our parents didn't have when they grew up. There was just no medium for them to kind of learn about that. So you can't really fault them about it. But now there's no excuse, right? There's enough out there. There's enough information out there. And I think it's, we kind of owe it to ourselves, us, the three of us in particular, to kind of get those messages out so that dads realize, look, you don't have to be like some of these crazy dads on Instagram that show just these over the top experiences and stuff. I mean, it's literally as easy as putting your damn phone down, getting on the floor with your kids, having them choose the activity and say, look, I only have 10 minutes. I got to go back to work, or I got to make dinner. Whatever you want to do for the next 10 minutes, I'm yours. And be goofy and be silly and whatever. And it's like, you made your impact in 10 minutes a day.
Mm.
Yeah, I love that, and that's going to kind of lead us into the next question, and um, it's for us, it's different. Every person's going to have a different answer, but to you right now, or collectively throughout your years, what to you makes a good dude and a good dad?
I think, I mean, I love the question, right? Because I think it hits on so many different things. But I think that I think to be a good dude, you got to have integrity, right? I think you have to have morals. You have to have a great character, right? Um, I think about all the decisions that I had to make going through Puracy, and there were some really, really difficult ones, and ones that probably would have made me a whole lot more money if I just said, let's bend on this. And I thought about, yeah, well, what if my kids were in the room right now? What would they think, right? What would I want them to think of their father? What kind of decision? It's like you take the high road.
Yeah.
And I understand that sometimes that means that you're not going to finish at the top, right? A friend told me once, like, look, I love that we have billionaires in our society. And I'm not saying that they're all bad, but typically a lot of them have a lot of bodies in their wake, right? They've pushed a lot of people aside or pushed a lot of people down to kind of get where they are. And I'm not saying that they're not brilliant, they're not smart, but it's like I want to be able to kind of sleep at the end of the day. I want to be able to have my kids respect me. I don't want a scandal coming out about me. I think like all those things mean you're a good dude. And the fact of like just going to have a cup of coffee with somebody or having a beer, whatever your preference is, but somebody that you actually want to go have a cup of coffee with and have a beer with is a good dude. And I think that then translates into those characteristics um, have to be reflective of you as a father as well. Like the thing that I think about, and I read a while back and it resonated with me, and we did it this year, was I want to have a full table at Thanksgiving every single year when I host. It is like the biggest thing, the biggest win that you can have as an individual. And it's going to be even more important when my kids are grown up and out of the house that they want to come back. But, we had 30 people for Thanksgiving this year, and it was awesome. And it was like, I mean, something that I loved so much. And I have such a fond memory of and want to continue that because I think that for everybody involved who came, they loved it. And, to have those people that wanted to come because you're a good dude and a good dad was all I could possibly ask for.
Mm, I love that.
Well, I can honestly say you are living by your good dude standard. Ben, ben
Thank
was
you.
like, so I'm gonna have a conversation with Sean. And he's like, I'm expecting it'll probably be like, 5-10 minutes and we'll chat real quick. Calls me back. He's like, dude, we just chatted for an hour. And it's the kind
Yeah.
of dude you want to sit down and have like a beer with. And I was like,
Yeah.
no way. He's like, yeah. He's like, dude, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be a great conversation. And so it's refreshing to not only say what matters to you as being a good dude. Oh, I really hope that didn't
What just happened? Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
hear me.
Woo!
That was weird.
His
Um,
computer just went crazy.
yeah, my computer just went crazy. To not only just say what it is to be a good dude, and a good dad, but to actually live it out. And so, kudos to you for our brief interaction for doing that.
Thank you.
That being said, we're trying to, just like you and you were saying with your brand, you're trying to create a catalog for men to be able to, parents to be able to go to and have a resource for, like you were saying, you were doing a video about how 10 minutes can make a difference. What are some actionable steps, or at least one actionable step that someone can do in wanting to be a good dude and a good dad?
The thing that I found is undivided attention to your kid. As short of a time period as that is, undivided attention. I think that we get really focused on like, well, I want to spend more time with my kid. Do you? I mean, or do you want to be like adjacent to them? Do you want to be cooking or doing chores or, just sort of working or fiddling around the house? Your undivided attention is going to make the biggest impact no matter what. And again, it doesn't have to be a long time. And everybody has that time. Anybody that has a kid has to make that time. You have to make sacrifices. And again, like I look at it as you have this short window and I'm watching it pass by quickly right? My daughter's 8. I remember when she was just born, and it goes really fast. Everybody says that it goes really fast, and it does. The days are long, the years are short, but they'll be out of the house. And frankly, even before that, by the time she turns 14, 15 years old, they're going to be going to hang out with their friends and doing their other things. And dad's not that cool anymore. And you want to be, you want that to kind of start that now, because I think what it does is it fosters this open communication, it fosters this trust. And uh, I can't speak highly enough to what that means to have communication open with your kid, because like where else are they going to go? They need that unconditional love and support, and they need to know that they can get it no matter what from you.
100%. I love that.
Wow.
It's been a pleasure getting to just hear you talk and listen to you. We don't want to take too much more of your time, but we'll put it in the notes and all that fun stuff. But guys, go follow his Instagram. It's just at dad mode. The website is godadmode.com.
Still working on that domain name, but yeah, it's GoDadMo for the domain name, just DadMo for Instagram. Thank you.
But yeah,
Is,
man, it
is
was
there
great.
anywhere else they can pick up the products right now besides?
Right now it's GoDadMo.com, and we just got on Amazon this week. So
Beautiful.
you can find us at both places. We're working on some other things with some retailers for next year. So yeah, but we're going to be out there doing our thing.
That's so cool. Well, again, thank you so much. Thanks for messaging me. I'm thankful I saw it because, like I said, I don't respond to a lot of those, not intentionally. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it's and I'm very big on time, and
Yeah.
I try not to waste my time on social media as much as I already do, and so I'm super thankful for it. We're gonna be here supporting you. Hopefully, people listening got something from this episode. Go to their website, go follow their Instagram. And again, thank you so much, Sean.
Thanks to you both. It was great being here and talking with you.
Mr. Jordan, you got anything?
No, thank you so much. I'm excited to watch where Dad Mode goes and hopefully continue this friendship. And yeah, we're really excited. Thank you so much. But everybody, go like, share, subscribe, check out Dad Mode. If you want to, get laid more, you better start cleaning more. If you
That's
want
right.
Anyway, remember, be a good dude, be a good dad.